Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new Ratchet & Clank 1 Randomizer. This randomizer adds a ton of new features, including major stability updates, while implementing some new things as well. The bolt multiplier is back. You can now start on a random planet with a random weapon, which is something you couldn't do before. You always started on Novalis with the bomb glove. And the biggest part about this randomizer is we now have 10 additional checks, those being the gold weapon checks, as well as, of course, the gold weapon room being accessible and being 10 randomized checks. This randomizer was so much fun, and it's definitely the best this randomizer has ever been. So huge shout out to all the devs who are keeping this randomizer alive. Now please do bear in mind, this is a beta build of this. Technically it is not officially out, though I did not run into any major issues during this run. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this randomizer. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We start this run off on Kerwan with our starting weapon being the suck cannon. And unfortunately, I didn't realize for the first few minutes of this, I was not capturing the actual game. So massive skill issue on my part. I'll go ahead and go over the checks we got while I was stupidly not recording. The vendor that would originally be the blaster check instead gave us 10,000 bolts for only 2,500 bolts, giving us a huge net gain. Helga's obstacle course gave us a gold bolt pack, which gives us 8 gold bolts. The gold bolt packs are just there to ensure that you don't get locked out of the gold weapon checks, since you need all 40 gold bolts to get the gold weapon checks. The gold bolt under our ship led to the coordinates to Hovind, which is our next destination. At this point, I was finally recording the game just in time to purchase the helipack from Al, which ended up being the metal detector, which has a 35 times multiplier on it, making bolt grinding absolutely non-existent in this run. Now, unfortunately, without a pack to high jump, we can't move any further into Kerwan, forcing us to go to Hovind. First thing we do on Hovind is check the vendor, which has the coordinates to Rilgar as the drone devices check. But we won't quite head there yet since we still have 2 checks available on Hovind. We head to this upper hill area to take out these snowy ankle biters with the suck cannon, giving us a cheeky skill point. Skill points aren't randomized yet, I just thought it was fun, and it was pretty easy since we had the suck cannon. Even though the skill point wasn't needed, this area does house a gold bolt. Obtaining it gives us the grind boots, which will be very helpful later. Finally, we head to the main planet buster path of this level. Unfortunately, we only have the wrench and suck cannon, which made getting through these mines a bit annoying. We also had to deal with these helicopters. Fortunately, as long as we fill up our suck cannon, the helicopters aren't too much of an issue. Our next potential issue is these 3 floating platforms, since we don't have a pack to glide or high jump to them. But don't worry, your eyes are deceiving you. This jump is actually really easy to make with some good timed double jumps when the platforms are at their lowest point. We then tackle this horde of Blarg before destroying the planet buster, giving us the coordinates to Orxon, which I will be avoiding at all costs until I get the O2 mask, because I don't want anything to do with that Clank section. Fortunately, we do still have Rilgar to go to. All we do on Rilgar is purchase the Mine Glove check, which is the coordinates to Kalibo 3. And since we have the grind boots, we can do the grind rail section, giving us 3 total checks. Fortunately for us though, the skill point isn't one of them. Thank goodness. We have 1 check from the gold bolt on the grind rail section, 1 from the help desk lady, and 1 in the cock room. I mean, the employee break room. Those checks being the PDA from the grind rail bolt, more gold bolts from Clank's Crush, and the Novalis coordinates from the cock room. Yes! I don't have to do Orxon yet. Novalis started off with gold bolts from the vendor, then gold bolts from the gold bolt, then more gold bolts from the plumber. What the hell is going on here? This place is a gold mine. Literally. I then went through the back section of this level expecting to get the gold bolt check, forgetting that I need an explosive to destroy this wall, because all we have at the moment is the suck cannon, which is not good enough to destroy this. Oops. Now fortunately, since we got all of those gold bolts, we head through this teleporter. This is where a bunch of the checks got added to the randomizer, the gold weapon room. Now since the gold weapons were added to the pool, all 10 of these checks are randomized, and very expensive. Fortunately, we have the metal detector, which gives us plenty of bolts to check all 10 checks, yielding us with the Map-O-Matic, Trespasser, Hydro Pack, Devastator, Thruster Pack, the Blaster, as well as the Raritanium, Magna Boots, and the best 60,000 bolts I've ever spent in my life. We got the Taunter! Let's freaking go. We got quite a lot of stuff here. This is definitely the new hype room. So many checks, but I imagine this definitely wouldn't have been in logic if I didn't have the metal detector, as well as already having 40 gold bolts. Not to mention, you can only buy gold weapons on certain planets. You can buy 5 of them on Gemlik, and you can buy all 10 of them on Novalis in challenge mode, but obviously since it's the randomizer, the teleporter is there. So we got very lucky when it came to actually being able to check the gold weapon room. Since the gold weapon room gave us the Hydro Pack, we were actually able to get the gold bolt past the river in this area, which was unfortunately just 10,000 bolts. But after saving the mayor, we get the coordinates to Drex fleet. Now, unfortunately, we can't quite do that without the holo guys, but even though we didn't get any coordinates here, we still don't have to go to Orxon yet because we got the thruster pack, which allows us to cross this gap on Rilgar. This planet was much easier since we have the blaster and devastator to defeat the enemies, specifically these tanks with absolute ease. In the downtown area, we were able to purchase the Rhino check after a little bit of bolt grinding. Fortunately for us, the Rhino check was a necessary item, that being the coordinates to Quartu. Again, needing the holo guys, but it will be useful later. We head deeper into the level until we get to the laser maze, with the gold bolt giving us the Aridia coordinates. Again, thank God. I do not want to go to Orxon. Even though we can get all the way to the end of this section, we can't actually do the race without the hoverboard, meaning we're likely going to have to come back here when we have it. We decide to head to Aridia and use the Devastator to destroy this wall, giving us the Glove of Doom. And even though I prefer the Pyroster for the Sand Sharks, we fortunately are able to get through it with the help of the Blaster. This finally gave us the check we were looking for, the holo guys, allowing us to finally head to Drex fleet and Quartu. Before we leave Aridia though, we get the other 2 gold bolts on this planet since we have the thruster pack for the one and the Magna Boots for the other. The Magna Boot one specifically giving us the swing shot, which conveniently allows us to do the trespasser portion of this level. Unfortunately, this just gives us 20,000 bolts, 10,000 for the trespasser check, 10,000 for the gold bolt underneath. With the holo guys in hand, we can finally head to Quartu and Drex fleet. Heading to Quartu first, and even though we have the holo guys, I did decide to head to the Clank section first, since we have the swing shot, and it's a more annoying check, so I wanted to get it out of the way quicker. Now, I will say, I do usually prefer official hardware on the PS3 version of the games, but for the randomizer, I had to emulate it. And for the first time in my life playing this game, I witnessed this giant Clank section running at a full 60 FPS the entire time without a single frame drop. That's insane. Anyways, defeating all the robots and ships gives us the decoy glove, which other than some clipping, won't really be that handy. We ran into a bit of an issue with the next section on Quartu since we don't have the helipack. Not having the helipack makes it so we can't glide. Even though we have the thruster pack, the coding requires the helipack to actually glide. And honestly, not being able to glide made this jump seem impossible. Fortunately, I could just do a lag jump followed by a mid-air long jump to barely make it down safely. These robots at this level did give me a few issues, but nothing we couldn't handle, especially since Clank's mom gives us the Rhino, and the following gold bolt gives us our first gold weapon, the Gold Blaster. The Rhino and the gold variant of my favorite weapon. Yeah, needless to say, we are set when it comes to weapons. When it came to Drex fleet, I just went knee-deep into the chaos, not worrying about them pushing the button or anything, since we had really good weapons. And we didn't run into too many issues doing this strategy. We had a few close calls, but we didn't actually die at all. Once on board the final fleet ship, we need to head into space, which usually requires the O2 mask to breathe, but I guess in the randomizer, Ratchet took some lessons from Mario, somehow being able to breathe in space without a helmet. Unfortunately, even though we can breathe in space, the next area has a ship, and unfortunately, we can't pilot a ship without the pilot's helmet, right? Right? Damn, who taught Ratchet how to fly?
This is where the fun begins.
Anyways, after destroying all the cannons on the main ship, we finish up Drex fleet, which weirdly enough gives us the gold decoy glove. Again, cool to see, but not that useful. Also, before I get comments saying, "But Ninja, you forgot the gold bolt in this level," I did get it. It was just some gold bolts. If I skip over any checks, it likely means they were junk checks, meaning they just don't lead to progression, so I just skip through them. Right as I was about to head to Orxon, since I thought I was out of checks and I had to do the Clank section, I remembered that I didn't do the second half of Kerwan since I lacked a pack and couldn't do a high jump. But since we had the thruster pack, we were able to progress here. And fortunately for us, this train gold bolt was it. The O2 mask we've been searching for so long.
Finally!
Orxon Clank is dead! Yes! With this out of the way, we can now comfortably head to Orxon, to get the Magna Boot and Pokearu check as Ratchet, giving us 10,000 bolts as well as the hoverboard. Guess we gotta go back to Rilgar soon. Unfortunately, the rest of Orxon, that being the Ratchet section, is inaccessible since we don't have the helipad to glide down to this area, and there's no other way down there. Well, so much for Orxon. We decided to head back to Drex Fleet to do the underwater section since we now have the O2 mask. The Codebot check gave us 10,000 bolts, but the Gold Bolt check was what changed everything, giving us the coordinates to the final level of the game, Velden. All we need to beat the game now is the Hydro Displacer. That being said, since we have the O2 mask, I decided to head to the underwater section of Quartu as well, which gave us the coordinates to Blarg, where the O2 mask once again shines, since we don't have to do the Clank section here. Man, I love the O2 mask in these randomizers. I think it might be my favorite item to get early in this randomizer. It's insane. Skipping Clank is just amazing. Anyways, even though we need the Hydro Displacer, I was praying for it to be in its original spot, and unfortunately, that was not the case. It was instead Planet Eudora. The Blarg vendor also had the Morpho Ray, and crazily enough, at the end of the Warship path, we also got the Gold Morpho Ray for beating it, meaning both Morpho Rays were on Blarg, which is kind of wild to think about. Anyways, now that we have Eudora, we head to Eudora, and we cheese our way to the Suck Cannon check using another lag jump, long jump midair to get this check. Essentially skipping the main path. Even though we had access to it, I still wanted to skip it, because it's fun sometimes. And as crazy as this is, given how many checks are still left in this run, the Suck Cannon check was the Hydro Displacer, the only item we needed left to beat the game. Now that we have everything we need to beat the game, we went ahead and headed to Velden. Now, even though we had all we need, I still decided to head to a few more planets to try and get more gold weapons. Obviously, we can beat Drex with what we have, but it's a fun randomizer. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have any further checks, so we did have to collect all of the gold bolts on Velden. And while I was here, I also did the giant Clank portion of Drex, so that we could teleport back to the boss fight later when we're ready to beat the game. The only useful bolt check on Velden was the one that requires the Taunter to make this horny toad press the button, which allows us to get the bolt, giving us the planet Gaspar. Gaspar was really easy since we just used the Rhino to kill everything in sight. The pilot's helmet check gave us the Gold Devastator, which is huge. After this, we then head to this secret bolt cave and blasted our way to the next gold bolt. This, funnily enough, was the pilot's helmet, which was needed for destroying the Hydro Harvesters on Pokearu. And I would love to say that this was an easy task on Pokearu, but apparently being too fast is bad. I went into the jet before the cutscene with the guy played, which apparently caused this very interesting glitch to happen, where Ratchet just rides the ship like a skateboard, and immediately this made the game crash. Anyways, once we finally got this done, we finally obtained the Bomb Glove. Crazy to see how late we got this weapon. We then head back to Hovind, since I completely forgot the Raritanium guy, since we've had the swing shot for quite a while now. And of course, the check that I forgot for the longest time was finally the Helipack. The check that I have been waiting so long for. Finally having the Helipack, we can head back to Kerwan to get this bolt that we missed. That bolt being Planet Battalia. And as per usual, I decided on Battalia to do the grind rail section first, because this is just the one that I always tend to do first. What about you guys? Which path do you go first? Commando or grind boots? Anyways, the grind boots section gave us the coordinates to Umbris, while the gold bolt on this planet was Ultanis. With these planets acquired, we now have every planet in the entire game. And honestly, the rest of the planets didn't have too much going for them, giving us a few more gold weapons and some other useful items. If you want to see the full 100% run of this, it will be posted separately on the extra content playlist. Be sure to check it out. It should be out the exact same day as this video, so no need to wait. Anyways, with all the weapons in our arsenal, we head into the Drex fight and defeat him with ease. Since we have the Gold Pyrocitor, which melts him in literal seconds, thanks to the PS3 version being glitched. Anyways, that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this randomizer. I think this randomizer update is huge for the Ratchet 1 rando, because unfortunately I feel like this is the most underappreciated out of the three we have, just due to stability issues. But I can definitely confirm that the stability issues have been solved. This rando is so much better than it's ever been before, and I'm very, very happy about this update. Now, this update is still technically in beta, but other than those few crashes that were caused by me, I did not run into any issues throughout this entire seed. So if you want to give it a check out, make sure you join the Archipelago Discord and join the Ratchet and Clank thread. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you get to 6,000 subs by the end of the year, I will do Ratchet Deadlock with only the B6 Obliterator, which is going to be absolute hell, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the member support, guys. You guys are amazing. New member video just dropped earlier this week if you want to check that out. It's me and Accelerace doing a Ratchet 2 and 3 randomizer. Be sure to check that out. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. But Ninja